Jada turned away. She stepped outside with Kayla. As the car pulled off, Jada glanced back at the house one last time. She whispered to herself, "This is not the end of my story." Traffic into downtown Atlanta was heavy, but Kayla drove smoothly, talking to Jada the whole way to keep her calm. "Breathe," Kayla said softly at a red light. "You are qualified. You are prepared. You belong in that building." Jada looked out the window at the tall glass skyscrapers glistening in the morning sun. Her nerves twisted, but her determination was stronger. When they arrived at Atlanta Elite Marketing Group, Jada froze for a moment. The building was massive, all glass, steel, and shining lights. Professionals in sharp suits moved quickly through the lobby like they had been born for this world. Kayla squeezed her hand. "Go get your future." Jada stepped inside. The receptionist smiled warmly. "Good morning. Name?" "Jada Collins," she replied, trying to steady her voice. The receptionist nodded. "Take the elevator to floor 18. Conference room B." As Jada walked to the elevator, she straightened her shoulders. Every step felt like courage. When the doors opened on the 18th floor, the space was sleek and modern. White walls, gold accents, and a stunning view of the Atlanta skyline. 3 other candidates sat waiting, all dressed sharply. Jada sat down, heart racing. Minutes later, a tall, confident woman stepped out. "Good morning," she said. "I'm Ms. Harper, hiring director. We'll begin shortly." Her eyes lingered on Jada for a brief second, not judgmental, but curious. One by one, the candidates were called in. Finally, Jada Collins. Jada stood up slowly. Inside the room sat 3 interviewers behind a long table. A large screen displayed the company logo behind them. Ms. Harper smiled. "Tell us about yourself." Jada inhaled deeply. She didn't just talk about her degree. She spoke about her struggle, her resilience, and how growing up in a tense household taught her discipline, empathy, and perseverance. The panel leaned forward, clearly impressed. Then Ms. Harper asked a question that made Jada pause. "Why do you want to work here?" For a moment, Jada thought of the ashes in the basement. She thought of Vanessa's smirk. She straightened her back. "I want to work here because I refuse to let anyone limit my future," she said calmly. "No matter what obstacles are placed in my way." Silence. Then slow nods. Ms. Harper smiled, a real smile. "Thank you, Ms. Collins. We'll be in touch within 48 hours. As Jada left the room, her legs felt weak, but her spirit felt stronger than ever. When Kayla dropped Jada back home that afternoon, the house felt heavier than before. Vanessa was in the living room, scrolling on her phone. Tiffany lounged on the couch. Marcus was not home yet. Vanessa looked Jada up and down. "So, how did it go?" she asked coolly. Jada stood tall. "It went well." Vanessa scoffed. "We'll see." Jada walked past her without another word. In her room, she sat on the bed and finally exhaled. Her phone buzzed. A message from Kayla popped up. "No matter what happens, you already won today." Jada smiled. But downstairs, Vanessa's eyes were dark with anger. She didn't expect Jada to make it that far. And she was not finished yet. That evening, Marcus came home looking tired. Jada met him in the kitchen. "Dad," she said softly, "can we talk?" He nodded. "Sure, baby." She took a deep breath. "I need the truth about my clothes." Marcus sighed heavily. "Jada, I don't want more conflict in this house." Before she could reply, the doorbell rang. Marcus frowned and went to open it. Standing outside was Mr. Reynolds, their neighbor from across the street. He looked serious. "Marcus, I hate to intrude," he said, "but I saw something last night on my security camera." Jada's heart jumped. Mr. Reynolds stepped inside and handed Marcus his phone. On the screen was clear footage from 1:28 a.m. Vanessa, in a robe, walking across the driveway toward the basement door with Jada's clothes in her hands. Marcus's face went pale. He turned slowly. Vanessa stood frozen in the hallway. The room went silent. Jada felt her chest pounding. The truth was finally in the open. The room felt colder than ice. Marcus stared at the phone in his hand, eyes locked on the paused video. Vanessa, clear as day, carrying Jada's clothes toward the basement in the middle of the night. Jada stood perfectly still, her chest rising and falling fast. Mr. Reynolds shifted uncomfortably by the door. "I didn't want to get involved," he said quietly, "but I knew this wasn't right." Marcus finally looked up. His face was pale, shocked, and deeply hurt. Slowly, he turned toward Vanessa. "Vanessa," he said in a low, trembling voice. "Is this true?" Vanessa opened her mouth, then closed it. For the first time since she married Marcus, she looked trapped. Tiffany sat up straight on the couch, eyes wide. "Mom, what did you do?" Jada stepped forward. "You burned my clothes," she said firmly. No tears now, only pain and clarity. "You tried to ruin my future." Vanessa's face hardened again, but her confidence was cracked. Marcus held up the phone. "This is you. At 1:28 in the morning. Walking into the basement with my daughter's clothes." Silence. Then Vanessa exhaled sharply. "Yes," she snapped suddenly. "I did it." The admission hit the room like a bomb. Marcus stepped back as if physically struck. "Why?" he whispered. "Why would you do something so cruel?" Vanessa crossed her arms, anger replacing fear. "Because she thinks she's better than everyone," she yelled. "Because you treat her like a princess while my daughter gets ignored in her own home." Tiffany looked shocked, but also uneasy. Jada shook her head slowly. "I never competed with Tiffany. I just wanted respect." Marcus ran a hand over his face, shaking. "I married you to bring peace into my home," he said quietly. "Not to destroy my child." Vanessa laughed bitterly. "Peace? You've always put Jada first." Marcus looked at Jada, then back at Vanessa. His voice dropped to steel. "You burned my daughter's clothes to sabotage her future. That is not love. That is abuse." The word hung heavy in the air. Vanessa flinched. Mr. Reynolds cleared his throat. "I'll leave you all to handle this." He nodded at Jada kindly before stepping out. The door closed softly. Marcus stood in silence for a long moment. Tiffany stared at the floor, suddenly quiet. Jada waited, heart pounding. Finally, Marcus spoke. "Vanessa, pack your things." The words were slow, firm, and final. Vanessa's eyes widened. "What?" "You heard me," Marcus said calmly. "You cannot stay here after what you've done." Tiffany jumped up. "Dad, you can't kick my mom out." Marcus turned to her gently but firmly. "Your mother committed a serious wrong in my house." Vanessa scoffed. "You're choosing your daughter over your wife?" Marcus looked straight at her. "I am choosing what is right." Jada's chest tightened. She hadn't expected this. Vanessa grabbed her bag furiously. "Fine. Keep your precious daughter. But don't come crawling back to me." She stormed upstairs. Tiffany followed reluctantly, tears in her eyes. Marcus turned to Jada. He looked tired, but sincere. "I'm sorry I didn't believe you," he said softly. "I should have protected you." Jada felt tears rise again, but this time they were different. She stepped forward and hugged him. "I just wanted you to see the truth, Dad." He held her tightly. That night, Jada sat in her room replaying the day in her mind. The fire, the ashes, the interview, the video, Vanessa leaving. Her phone buzzed at 9:17 p.m. An unknown number. Her heart raced. She answered. "Hello, this is Jada Collins." A calm, professional voice spoke. "Good evening, Ms. Collins. This is Ms. Harper from Atlanta Elite Marketing Group." Jada sat up straight. Ms. Harper continued, "We were extremely impressed with your interview today. The panel has unanimously decided to offer you the position of Junior Marketing Associate. Jada gasped softly. Her hand covered her mouth. Your starting salary will be $72,000 per year, with benefits beginning after 90 days. Tears rolled down Jada's face. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I accept. Ms. Harper smiled through the phone. Welcome to the team, Ms. Collins. When Jada hung up, she ran downstairs. Dad! She shouted excitedly. Marcus came out of the kitchen. What's wrong? She jumped into his arms, laughing and crying at the same time. I got the job. Marcus's face broke into a huge smile. He lifted her off the ground. I knew you would. Upstairs, Vanessa's room was empty. Her suitcase was gone. Jada didn't feel bitterness anymore, only relief. 2 weeks later, Jada stood in front of a sleek glass apartment building in Midtown Atlanta. Her name was on the lease. Her own place. Clean, modern, and peaceful. Marcus helped her carry in the last box. He looked around proudly. Your mother would be so proud of you. Jada smiled softly. She had faced sabotage, betrayal, and pain, but she had not broken. She was stronger. That evening, as the sun set over the city skyline, Jada stood by her window and whispered, No one can burn my destiny. Her phone buzzed, a message from Kayla. Welcome to your new life, boss. Jada smiled. Her story had just begun. 3 months later, Jada's life looked completely different. She now worked in a high-rise office overlooking downtown Atlanta. Every morning, she rode the elevator with confident professionals, holding her coffee and laptop like she had always belonged there. Her apartment in Midtown was clean, bright, and peaceful, decorated with soft gold accents, white furniture, and pictures of her late mother smiling on the wall. Marcus visited her every Sunday. Their relationship was closer than ever. But inside the Collins house in Stonecrest, things were not the same. Vanessa had moved into a small 2-bedroom apartment with Tiffany. Money was tight. Arguments were constant. The luxury life she once enjoyed was gone. One rainy evening, Vanessa sat on her couch scrolling through Instagram. Then she froze. On her screen was a picture of Jada, standing confidently in a black blazer inside a glass office building, smiling brightly. The caption read, First quarter at Atlanta Elite Marketing Group. Grateful, growing, and winning. Vanessa's face twisted with a mix of anger and regret. She threw her phone onto the couch. Tiffany walked into the living room. Mom, are you okay? Vanessa didn't answer at first. Finally, she spoke softly, almost painfully. I messed up. Tiffany sat beside her. We can't go back there now. Vanessa stared at the floor. I didn't just burn her clothes. I burned my own place in that family. Silence hung between them. A week later, Jada was in her apartment cooking dinner when there was a knock at her door. She wiped her hands and opened it. Her heart stopped for a second. Vanessa stood there. No designer bag. No fancy makeup. No proud posture. Just a tired woman holding a small envelope. Jada folded her arms slowly. What do you want? Vanessa swallowed hard. I came to apologize, she said quietly. Jada said nothing. Vanessa took a deep breath. I was jealous, insecure, and wrong. I saw how much your father loved you, and instead of accepting it, I resented you. Her voice cracked. I tried to break your future, and instead I broke my own. Tears slid down her face. She handed Jada the envelope. Inside was a cashier's check. $1,500. I sold some of my old jewelry, Vanessa said softly. This is to replace what I burned. It doesn't fix anything, but it's all I can do. Jada looked at the check, then at Vanessa. For a long moment, neither spoke. Finally, Jada exhaled. I can't forget what you did, she said honestly. But I don't want to carry hatred either. Vanessa nodded slowly. I don't deserve your forgiveness, she whispered. I just needed to say I'm sorry. She turned to leave. At the door, she paused. I'm proud of you, Jada. Then she walked away. Jada closed the door slowly, feeling both heavy and lighter at the same time. That Sunday, Marcus came to visit Jada. They sat on her balcony overlooking the city. He looked at her with pride in his eyes. You handled that woman with more grace than I ever could, he said softly. Jada smiled faintly. I didn't want to become bitter like her. Marcus bowed his head. Your mother raised a strong woman. Jada squeezed his hand. They sat quietly as the sun dipped behind the skyline. 6 months later, Jada received a promotion. She was no longer junior anything. She was now marketing associate, leading small projects of her own. She also spoke at a local youth career workshop, telling her story to young girls who felt overlooked, sabotaged, or discouraged. Standing at the podium, she said calmly, "No one has the power to burn your destiny unless you let them." The room erupted in applause. In the back row, Marcus wiped a tear from his eye. That night, Jada stood in her apartment, dressed in a sharp navy suit, one she bought herself. She hung it carefully in her closet, not in fear, but in pride. Her phone buzzed with a text from Kayla. Proud of you, superstar. Jada smiled and looked out at the glowing Atlanta skyline. She whispered softly, They tried to burn my clothes, but they lit my fire instead.